It's Nolan.
Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show.
First thing I'ma say, just stop playing. Using my name, get put in that top saying. The top soul ain't promoting black wars. All I do is drop bars. But still a nigga that'll catch wreck on any cassette deck like I'm Big Ellen it. I take them to another place like Arrested Development. Fuck a settlement. I rose from sediment, been holding sentiments. Home a Confederate predicate, felons in my element. Boy, y'all ain't shit to me artistically or lyrically. If I let the trigger squeeze, I'm speaking hypothetically. Fresh and local rapping from the cradle to the grave. Y'all been silver spooned, I've been handing ladles to the slaves. It's a mindset, flies and identified objects. Showed my creative process, y'all talking nonsense. Everybody wanna be hard, till them bullets start flying, they don't wanna see God. They deserve an E-guard. For the role we clapping like it was no, yeah, boy, I'm slimmer than that soldier. But I'm really about to show you slow motion. I'm Neo from the Matrix with this rap shit. Even off the bench, I'm precise like I'm John Paxson. Benediction, bitch, I'm beneficial to the game. Quintessential, everything I spit essential to the brain. Like a pistol, high bang. Loaded with information, try and blend it with a rap instead of quoting dissertations. Best approach with hesitation. I learned it from Newton. Pick a fight with me, it's no longer my fault if I'm shooting. Send love to the artist for cooping. I got the heart of a student. I learned the game, then I started a movement. Put the city on my back like an oxygen tank. Ain't no talking my accounts if you argue with banks. I walk to the plank, stand like a man. Who gon' do something? I posted up like a witness that see the news coming. I'm cool running, how I'm sliding on the track. Learn to talk smooth, got your baby mama on the jack. My flow clean, like I pour a comet on the track. I'm shining like white walls with a diamond in the back, yeah.
What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Hope everybody's doing well out there this evening. In this video, we're going to be getting into the Joe Budden podcast and their reaction to the diss record. Which one was that? The No Hook from JT that was released going up against Cardi B. Now, for those of y'all that tuned into my reaction video the other day, you probably have noticed that if you went back to the video or if you watched it later that night or the next day, that the music mostly is not in that video. And the reason why the music was removed from the video is because JT and her team were in the process of uploading the two diss records that she made to Cardi B, the first one being No Hook, the other one being Keep Going. But for whatever reason, the songs were once upon a time on streaming platforms, and then within the same day, they no longer were. I don't know what JT's grand scheme was. I mean, last weekend, she told us to wait till Friday. When Friday came, the DJ That Don't Spin ended up debuting the two records that she had in the tuck for Cardi B. The narrative is that he leaked it without her consent. I don't know how strongly I believe that narrative that the DJ That Don't Spin jacked her music, both records that she had in the tuck, and leaked it before she could do it or put it out herself. I don't know. I don't even know if she's that important in the grand scheme of the music game for the DJ That Don't Spin to even put resources forth towards leaking it out. But, you know, if that's what they say, that's what they say. You know? Now, I do find it interesting that the song didn't even live on streaming platforms for a full 24 hours before it was removed. And there are some narratives out there around why that is. Some people are trying to say that perhaps JT and her team were using bots to drive up the streams, and maybe the streaming platforms punished her because, of course, if you do get caught using bots on Spotify, they can remove your song or they can remove your artist profile in general. In most cases, it doesn't happen to major label artists because why would they do that when the major label artists make them so much money? But they have done that to independent artists. They actually enforce the rules a lot stricter on independent artists, if I'm to be all the way honest and transparent. So I think that's a load of bullshit. Then there was the narrative that Barty Gang somehow got the records removed, which I would love to know which representative from the Barty Gang fan club has enough power to put forth to have 2 songs removed from streaming platforms, and what it was that what tactic did they employ that would be powerful enough to get it removed. So I think that narrative is also a wet, hot, heaping load of bullshit. Okay? Now, before we get into Joe Budden and crew's opinion, I also want to say I never thought that me reviewing JT's 2 diss records and calling it a 2-pack of ass was going to be a controversial take. I thought it was purely justified, but apparently it sent a lot of people into a tizzy. People literally kirked out, not only in the YouTube comments and wanted to call me a hater, a cold-hearted person and all type of stuff, but I also had a gentleman, which really took me by surprise, a grown man, who camped out in my comments for nearly 2 nights straight because I didn't like the records and called it a 2-pack of ass. So I didn't expect that to be controversial. I thought people would mostly identify with what I was saying, but some people took it to heart. I don't know how or why, as if y'all really give a fuck about JT, but you know, if that's what makes you feel good in this moment, y'all go run those streams up on City Cinderella. All that being stated, let's get into Joe Budden and team's thoughts about the No Hook diss record from JT, shall we?
Sometimes it's subliminal, but now they're direct. They're saying things, and I got hope that they're going to go to the record. I got hope that Nicki's going to finally put the pen to the pad, nigga, go in the booth and call names.
In March.
In March.
In March. Yeah.
In March.
I don't see it happening. If it does, I think it's going to be underwhelming.
Really?
I do.
I went back to
let me be clear. I love Nicki as a rapper. To me, she's right in the top. It's like top 2 ever, right? Top 2, top 3 ever. But
so as you can see, before they even get to JT, they're talking about whether or not Nicki Minaj is going to get in the booth and actually take out some of her frustration and thoughts towards Cardi B on record, or is she going to move forward, put together her album in March and be graceful about it, or should we be expecting, you know, some scathing diss records on the project, right? Because remember, we got a couple disses from Cardi on Am I the Drama. So they're getting to that, and then they're going to get into JT.
that don't mean you good at writing diss records. And I haven't seen any what?
Nigga,
I haven't seen anything from Nicki diss record wise that makes me think that she's about to set the world on fire with a diss record. I'm not saying she.
Shout out to Mark Lamont Hill, man. You've been warming up, man. You've been warming up lately. I didn't used to like you. I still don't really care for the Joe Budden podcast all that much. I used to like it a lot more. They definitely have gotten very softball on their takes, but at least Mark Lamont Hill will be transparent. He says he ain't heard nothing from Nicki that indicates that she gonna be in top tier battle rap shape by the time we get to the album, because she never has been, which I think is a narrative that people have been trying to perpetuate for the longest, that she was some lyrical champ and that she had, I guess, fared well in beef before, but I could have swore most people felt like Remy got the best of her and with Sheether. And I don't recall. You know what I mean? I seen some people that were out there spreading the old 40 bars record where she was dissing Kim. But in that song, she literally sounded like Kim's little sister. So it's like, maybe, I don't know. But well, I'll digress from that.
She's too talented to not always be in the game. But I'm not expecting it based on what I seen from her when she responded to Remy before. I see good bars. I haven't seen anything.
And that's the thing. I said that last part too. But the thing about streaming is they've robbed us of great rappers picking a beat that was out already and dissing somebody.
That's true. Yes.
And so now this songwriting has to come into effect, where I don't really care. That's a stat in hip hop I don't care about. I want to hear grab a beat that you know we like.
Yeah.
Hop on it,
smoke someone's boot,
and just smoke somebody and let that be the end of that.
Well, that's what I wanted JT to do. That's what
Let's get into JT,
because I didn't like the diss. I think some of y'all liked it more than me.
Well, we're going to talk about it. I got a JT friend of the show. I'd like to think all these people are friends of the show, but if you talk to them, maybe not. JT, I want to say her people reached out last week like, yo, JT, come up there. Next week is going to be a big week.
Now, I find that to be very interesting. So, JT and her team reached out to Joe Budden last week about going up to the Joe Budden podcast. It was going to be a big week, right? And we saw her on Snapchat saying, wait till Friday, blah, blah, blah. So this was definitely orchestrated on their end. However, the execution was certainly piss poor. But they were already trying to get Joe Budden, you know, on their side to be like, hey, can she come up there? It's going to be a big week. Okay? And to his point about, you know, back when artists used to hop on popular instrumentals and just bar up and diss their opponents, which I do wish that would come back. You see nowadays artists are trying to release diss records as commercial opportunities, putting them on their albums or putting them out as singles with original production and all that. And I'm sure that's for the label's benefit because you're going to get a lot of traction and traffic on those records and you want to monetize them as much as you possibly can. But sometimes you don't have the necessary production in your camp that's really going to get the best diss bars out of you. You know what I'm saying? But I also think that is a bit of a scapegoat because we're listening to Joe Budden, somebody who was able to body rappers on industry instrumentals and his own original production. If you go listen to Wake and Making of a Murderer, those were original beats that he bodied Drake on. So it's either in you or it ain't. And it ain't no diss if it ain't. You just not built for that particular avenue in rap. And there's nothing wrong with it.
And then I was like, I've been around the block too long. I was like, what does that mean? Yeah. No, don't try to insert me in some shit. That's how I got caught up with that Tasha K interview. Yeah.
Now, interesting enough, with that offer to go on the Joe Budden podcast, which it sounds like Joe Budden declined, people are now spreading that Saucy Santana was letting people know that JT and her team were reaching out to certain people to try to get folks on her side that could possibly sway the public opinion in her favor. And he literally said, what you mean? Now, don't get me caught up in no shit.
Don't try to put me in some shit now. And sure enough, as God would have it, some shit. So JT put out 2 diss records against Cardi B. Mm-hmm. First thoughts. I mean, not now, but when you heard it. Give me your first thoughts. When this came on, first 8-10 bars go by, you thinking what now?
At first, I thought it was ass. It was trash at first. It picks up, but this was ass. Even when she's been that bitch 6 birthdays at Disney World, like it gets to picking up right there.
All you Philly niggas stutter. Them schools, I'm telling you.
No, I like the fuck you.
I wasn't mad. It sounds
Miami. Her father get it on the boat.
It sounds freestyle mixtapey. Like it's kind of lo-fi. You know what I mean? Like that's
once I heard the father.
Get it on the boat.
I got it off the boat hole. I was like, okay, I'm listening more than I was.
Mm-hmm. That's where it picked up for me.
I'm listening more than I was.
Once in there, by the time you got to that part, I'm just like, she's going to have to come harder than this.
Now, what were your thoughts during this part?
It picked up.
It's picking up.
This is where I put my coffee down. This is what happened there, my attention. I started to laugh.
Yeah,
I laughed.
she mentioned the face. I said, oh, okay.
Once you plastic surgery reviews.
Yeah.
Yo, when you dissing somebody with more money than you, like, again, a lot of this shit comes from the fucking 50 Cent diss handbook. And you just start talking about your opponent's ability to read. Yo, I don't care if you can read or not. It's funny.
It is funny.
Hey, and let me say the line that get me in Parks and Trouble. Hey, who wrote that?
Now, that's an interesting piece. So Joe Budden is actually sitting here questioning who even wrote the bars in JT's diss record, right? And again, we had Cardi B come out the other day, put it on Front Street that JT was reaching out to Partisan Fontaine to lock in the studio and get some of that some of the flavor, some of the vibes. Let me get some of that recipe that you bringing to the Cardi B studio sessions. Whatever that magic is that y'all got, can I get a little piece of the magic? Which I find to be very interesting. And Cardi B said, he wasn't trying to get in the studio with you, so you had to settle for your current writer, KT. Now, there has been some speculation about who exactly KT is. Somebody on social media sent me some Katura Moss or something, or Mess or something, like, I think it was Mass, whatever it was. I think it ended up being Young M.A. And I'm not too sure if Young M.A. is in the studio helping JT come up with her music. So that I kind of glossed over. I think there's another person in question. But I think it's actually like a producer that worked on the City Cinderella project, not an actual rapper. So at this current moment, I don't know who the fuck KT is. The investigators are going to keep having to do their thing on that end. But Joe is literally questioning who actually wrote JT's diss raps, which I don't think they were good enough to be employing an outside writer, but that's just me.
Do we think that JT is writing this stuff?
I think she wrote it. JT, right?
Shut the fuck up.
I did.
Yo.
JT
This is the most lyrical wizardry.
Exactly. It sounds like she wrote this. For sure.
Not to me, but
not to me.
Like this is
I mean, if
a nigga wrote this, I would be pissed if I paid this.
I don't be thinking nobody write none of this shit.
Wait, hold on. What you say, Mona?
If I paid somebody to write this, I would be pissed.
Oh, the fuck.
This sounds like she wrote it to me. This sounds like her. Like, it sounds like a Miami
that's not a
bitch.
compliment.
She be popping, talking about selling clothes out the trunk and all that. She a booster, she a credit card girl. It sound like her to me.
She definitely told that person her story.
She was the rapper out of them too. That's how I always looked at it. Unless I was
album, how people play the deluxe game. Cardi could go drop another version with 2 more songs on it again.
Let me ask y'all, is it a diss for people to keep talking about how much Cardi's album cost?
No.
Like the $4.99 thing?
No. Yes.
I mean, only when Nicki said it. I mean, I could see her.
I could see it being a diss because if you hanging everything on your numbers.
Your single was 99 cents.
Mine is
$4.
I mean,
yes, it is a diss. Because you're talking, we sold 200,000 first week, 199, whatever you want to call it. We did these numbers, but then when you go look and say, it's like an asterisk. Maybe not a diss, but
it's not really an asterisk. And I know this is where people are gonna be like, "Oh, you're defending Cardi B? Oh my god!" I'm not defending Cardi B. I'm just speaking the truth because as a person that's actually been tuned in to all of this, I have to give context where others will not fill in the blanks, right? So if we're looking at the totality of the rollout of this album, not all of the Cardi B albums were sold for $4.99. A lot of people pre-ordered the album at full price, whatever that was, $10.99, $15.99, whatever the fuck that price was. A lot of people pre-ordered when they became available. There was no $4.99 available. A lot of people paid for multiple versions of the box set or this one or that one, regardless of what the price was before there was a $4.99 offer, right? The $4.99 offer, if I'm not mistaken, came to be either on album release day or after. But in the weeks leading up to the album being released, there was no discount, right? Not to mention the opponent. And I'm talking about the real opponent, not JT, even though JT rapped about the $4.99. Nicki, right? Cardi showed the screenshots of Nicki Minaj selling her previous albums for $5 as well. So even with Nicki, because she kept talking about the $4.99 and I would never sell my album for $4.99, and she's getting together with her team over there at Republic, the #1 record label in the world, and they're not gonna shortchange the fans by charging them less. That to me, that didn't sound like I'm doing this for the fans. I'm doing this so y'all can line the pockets. Because what do you mean they wouldn't allow me to drop the album for any less to shortchange my fans? How is a discount shortchanging your fans? I find that to be interesting, right? And even when it was Drake and Party Next Door, right? Remember when they did the discounts for Some Sexy Songs for You? And that was like a huge topic in the YouTube streets. Everybody was like, oh, Drake is trying to discount the album to run up the numbers. And it actually didn't even really work all that well in his favor. I didn't really lean very hard on discounted album prices when it was him. I don't feel that way when it's Nicki. I don't feel that way when it's Cardi or any other artist for that matter. If there's a way that you can discount and create more affordable ways for your fans to get your music and still get your point across and you're able to do what you need to do, I think that's best. We're in super trying times. We got people being laid the fuck off every other day, every other week. So as it pertains to any of the artists in question, if they sold their album for $4.99, $8.99, whatever the fuck it is, I don't think that's necessarily a dig. The problem becomes when you sold your album for $5 and then you shortchange an artist for selling theirs for $4.99 as if that 1 penny is going to make a huge amount of difference. That is being a huge hypocrite. I don't like shit like that. You know what I'm saying? That part I don't support. But outside of that, that 200,000 first week, I don't think much of that was based on the $4.99 sale. So you could say it's a diss all you want, but if JT sold her album for $4.99, do you think she would have sold double, triple? Because she did what, 27K? Was she going to do 54, 75 if she would have sold it for $4.99? Probably not, because nobody paid for it anyway. Anyway, let's get back to it.
It does put an asterisk up there.
It's a diss.
The normal album costs $9.99 to $12.99 to even higher.
JT got to sell more. It is a diss.
It's a diss.
It is a diss.
That's all I'm saying. It's a diss.
You got to sell a little more.
I think that's what I meant. It's a diss. It's not a good one.
Better be sure than sorry, though. That's how I feel. I mean, with Cardi, I think it's a great move that she did.
Bitches is playing with Cardi.
With the hiatus that she's been on for so long, right? You don't know.
That's why they're playing with her. That's why they're playing with it right there. If it took you 7 years to do this that you did.
But why would I come out and put my album at $9.99 if it did take me 7 years and the people were criticizing me every time I was teasing a roller I didn't drop? Yeah. I would come I would put it at a price where I can be sure that
it shows scary.
That's the only part.
I think it's a business move.
That part of what Cardi did, that's the only part that don't match Cardi's aesthetic. I thought about it long and hard too. Cardi, when you hear her rap, is big boss, numero uno, number one. You see the fashion. I made the money. I sold the records. You bitches can't fuck with me. That's the aesthetic all across the board. From the looks to everything. You can't have that aesthetic and talk to the bitches the way you're talking to them, and then your album come out and be $4.99.
And be clear. And one other thing.
But the primary price for the album was not $4.99. There was a version for $4.99. There was like a discount code that was put out at a later time that allowed you to get it for $4.99. But like they acting like the version that the physical copies that was selling out from the store was priced at $4.99. That's not the truth. That's not what it was. Even when the other edition, what was the fucking Barty Gang edition? The digital that had like the extra songs on it and shit. Even that was like what was it, like $8, some shit like that, because I bought it. So that wasn't even $4.99. You know what I mean? Like it was just a one-off that's been ran with, like her whole entire sale was auctioned off at $4.99. That's not how it was. But again, when it comes to the Joe Budden podcast, they do minimal research before they talk anyway, which is why it's hard to even use them as a resource, although this is one of the biggest platforms in hip-hop media today. I think a shift is on the way, though. But yeah, in summation, let me know what y'all think of everything that was covered in this video. You know what I'm saying? From JT trying to get on the Joe Budden podcast. You know, they tried to book it a week in advance before the diss record came out. He said no to the diss records being uploaded to streaming platforms and then deleted within the same day? What was the reasoning for that? Does the label not want to stand on them? Are they ashamed that a lot of people didn't fuck with that shit? What's the thought process behind that? Why you would put a record out and then renege on it the same day? Let me know what y'all think of this whole $4.99 argument. Do you think that it has any validity to it? I know people that are on the side of JT via their proximity to being on the side of Nicki Minaj are going to lean into that. But again, your queen was selling albums for $5. So how do you try to pull rank on somebody saying your album cheap as fuck, you selling it for $4.99? And it's like, well, you were selling yours for $5. And don't try to lean on some, well, it was $5, not $4.99. Because if you think that penny made a difference, then you really wasn't doing all that well in school. You're dissing yourself. Okay? All that being said, let me know what y'all think. All right? I will catch y'all on the next one. Y'all be good out there. Much love and respect. Peace.
Yeah, family over fame in this bitch, yeah. The glory of living righteous is setting in. My street knowledge and education's a perfect blend. Young mogul, independent, I've been setting trends. The first one from my family to be faithfully wed. Fuck niggas and the horses that they riding on. I see this shit from all angles like a polygon. I'll never politic and the drama be piling on. Father and great son acknowledged like I'm Bobby Bonds. Conversation with my lady about the paper route. 5 sit bank accounts every day I make it count. They down talking my commentary for hating now. Well, I can take it cause I'm bodying your favorite now, please. I can do this shit in my sleep. I been writing for these niggas, y'all read it and weep. I been fighting these niggas if you speak on the street. I turn your birthday party into New Year's Eve. Don't let me take it there. We ain't playing fair. This the ATL, Southside nigga moving furniture like Wayfair. Life on hold, no insurance for your healthcare. Lifeline gone, so you wanna be a millionaire? Well, let me tell you about this world I built. The women I dodged, the niggas that I read for filth. The sympathy calls, consulting for the stacks I built.